Hi friends, welcome back. So could Elon Musk get arrested? That's the subject of today's video, and we're going to take a look at inside Tesla. So this is the headlines, guys. Elon Musk faces possible summons before UK Parliament over role of X. And basically, if you've been following the story, you know that Mr. Musk has been fighting with the UK government over misinformation. Musk is like, hey, I can just tweet out anything all day, every day, maybe even incite violence. People in the UK are like, yo, cut it out, Mr. Musk. And now the government may be summoning him to the request. And essentially, he'll have to give witness on how their algorithm works. If he doesn't show, right, is he going to be contempt of UK Parliament? Or if he does show, will this be like, you know what? We're just going to come arrest you. And this is something that I don't think Musk is that dumb. I'm thinking, don't go to Europe at all. That could be France, that could be UK, even Germany. So I think Musk knows it's a trap. Yes, we are talking about Star Wars. But guys, this is sort of the world that we live in, is like what to believe anymore. One thing I think is really funny is when you have this conversation, some people think that Musk is part of the Rebel Alliance and he's Luke Skywalker. On the other turn, some people think of Musk as being the emperor, right? And it depends of your point of view. Regarding the emperor situation, I was thinking of this quote here. And if you guys know these movies, I'm sure you know, right? Does the deflector shield, is it up or not? Because basically when you assault the Death Star, you got to get that to shield down. And then when you arrive, the Emperor's like, oh, I'm afraid that the shield is operational and I'm going to set a trap for you. Why am I bringing up deflector shield and stuff like that? Because I saw, this is a true story, this was actually on Twitter over in Tesla Korea. So I saw that this was happening. I did not see the Cybertruck or this robot thing for myself. I just want to say, but I saw it was happening. We could have gone, but it was like a little bit far away. We live in Busan. This is happening in Seoul. If they bring it down to Busan, I'd love to see it. But basically, there's like a car exposition kind of thing. This is, I guess, the Optimus or whatever. And then that's a Cybertruck there. And then someone, it looks like, appears to be basically a C-3PO kind of suit thing. So someone made a suit that looks like Tesla's. And I don't know where this is from. I tried to Google MG42 Industry. I just don't know like who's making this thing. There was no context of this, but I'll just say it is kind of interesting because in this regard, this is the argument that Musk has said, and I've heard him say before. He'll say like, when Steve Jobs releases a product with Apple, a long time ago, the product may not necessarily be ready. We'll put basically a guy in the suit. And then by the time you come and check on this, oh, it is indeed ready, right? You see what I'm saying? So when the rebels come and, whoops, I can get that up here. Actually, as the shield goes down, right? Now the shield's back up. But as the, essentially what I'm trying to say is, guys, is like, we may accuse Musk of fraud and all that kind of stuff. And then if you're a fan of Musk, you're like, oh no, it's going to be ready. It may be not quite ready now, but he's going to, eventually get it there. And again, that's up to you to decide. One thing that I think is really interesting regarding the arrest of Musk or not, say in UK, someone mentioned this from Germany, which I think is a very real possibility. So if Musk is spreading, we'll just say Nazi kind of stuff, right? I mean, it's basically what it is, or far, right-leaning kind of things. Some of this content is illegal in Germany. That's a real thing in Germany. So, you can't fly the Nazi flag, for example, or say, for example, here in Korea, you can't fly the North Korean flag or, put out North Korean propaganda. I hope you guys understand this. Like it's not something that the government approves. And so in some places, the things that Musk is putting out there could be illegal, right? The freedom of speech has different meanings in different countries. And they lost, his name was Nick Pickles, and he was the head of global affairs for X, which is one of Elon's companies. They lost him. He left. I think he was there for like 10 years or something like that. I can actually tell you. Maybe it's 8 years. I have it right here. It says, after 10 years, tomorrow will be my last day at X. Yeah, so he's out. And if you don't have someone who has the relationships in place to sort of navigate these things, and this is the question again, is like with Musk, is he some sort of mastermind that can, navigate the governments in, say, Brazil, where I think they're banned still, navigate UK, navigate France, navigate, the US, navigate Russia, Saudi, Qatar. This guy's involved with all sorts of stuff. Is he some like crazy mastermind and he's going to have that shield generator operational, but he's just fooling us all along? That's why I brought this up. It depends on your view of Musk. Now, I want to go through this too, guys. There was an interesting thing recently. The headline is, I work at Tesla's autopilot team. I watch hours of customer driving videos every day and am monitored constantly. I'll give you the gist of it and then we'll go through the details. Basically, it looks like that how they sort of are getting that quote FSD now it's supervised. So it's supervised full self-driving, or is it full self-driving supervised? Either way, it doesn't work as sort of advertised, and they've been accused of false advertising in the past. But the basic gist of it is it looks like they're having a bunch of people watch hours of footage and then code things that way. And then these people are constantly monitored by Tesla, and if they don't sit like in front of their screen and do what they're supposed to do, they could get fired. And it feels like a Black Mirror kind of situation. And one thing I mentioned to you, and I've talked about several times on the channel, there were reports also from insiders that Tesla spends extra resources and extra time on the YouTuber's experience or Elon Musk's experience. So basically what I'm saying is that if you're watching a stock promoter video, right, someone who's basically backing Tesla, blindly, whether or not they're being paid, there's various things on that. And that's a different discussion, but you can watch my videos and not just look up Tesla paid, you'll find on my channel. But the point I'm trying to say, though, is that it may not be real. Someone's real in the sense of their experience is going to be different than your experience, because they could have more resources devoted to their driving experience. And so let's read through this, and you guys will kind of get what I'm saying here, because it makes more sense when you get inside stories. So this is, again, coming from an insider inside Tesla. I spend hours every day going over videos that were taken from customer cars and Tesla's in-house test drivers. We label every little thing, from making sure a car doesn't try to drive on the shoulder of the road to telling it how to react when a lane is closed due to construction or there's a four-way stop sign. So if this is how they're training Tesla, and say, for example, you make, training the car for individual circumstances, individual locations, etc., like imagine how long it's going to take them to ever get it to work and in multiple countries, multiple sites, multiple roads, because the world is different and everywhere. So they have basically people studying footage all the time and then trying to program the AI or algorithm, what do you want to call it? This also says here, within the program, there are many different little projects that are all combined to create the greater full self-driving and autopilot experience. We work on hyper-focused projects that can last for weeks or months. For example, you could spend months labeling road lines or teaching the vehicle how to respond to different weather conditions, like how to identify snowbanks and operate when the snow covering lane markings. And the lane marking thing is an important one. I told you guys this before on the channel, but if you don't know, basically Tesla is using cameras only, no sensors, and they're not relying on high definition maps. So they argue that we don't need really good maps and we don't need sensors because cameras is enough. And the truth is, though, is that they're just using cameras only to cut costs. The problem with cameras only is that when there are no lines on the road, and this is a good example of, say, snow, or it's raining or foggy or whatever, you can't see so good, then suddenly, I don't think this thing's going to work that well. And one of the things that you'll find with many of the YouTubers on YouTube, that are stock promoters, whatever you want to call them, is they don't ever show Tesla driving around in like unknown situations, meaning that you're only going to see it driving in Austin, Texas, or like in certain parts of California, because that's where these people live, so they map out that area really well. And you mostly only see sunny weather conditions. I could be wrong, but you guys can let me know if there's some YouTuber out there that does like Tesla full self-driving in the snow all day every day, but I'm willing to bet not. Moreover, I have not seen any full self-driving outside the USA. You guys can let me know again if I'm wrong on that one. I haven't seen it for myself, or like say video footage of testing it in China or in various parts of Europe, etc. But I do know that full self-driving is banned in some places. So for example, someone mentioned before that lives up in Canada, British Columbia, I guess they've banned this stuff. So it's illegal basically, so essentially why you wouldn't do it. And then even the way people are operating now is not necessarily the right way, meaning that they need to keep their hands on the wheel, as it says in the manual. They'll say more here. This is again coming from a Tesla insider. There is something very strange about having this very intimate view into someone's life. So basically they're just watching tons of camera footage. That feels odd to see someone's daily drive, but it's also an important part of correcting and refining the program. So I'll be curious what you guys' thoughts on that. If you're okay with Tesla, we're spying or just watching all your footage. At the same time, we're under our own microscope. Anytime we're making key clicks of a video, Tesla knows what we're doing. There are many cameras. There are cameras basically everywhere we work. So the only place you can really get privacy is in the bathroom. So the office you're in, everyone's watching you. It's like a Black Mirror surveillance kind of thing. We review 5.5 to 6 hours of footage per day. It can be very hard to focus. You can get this kind of fog, right? just your mind, and you guys know this, if you look at the same thing over and over again, it's just hard to focus. When you're just watching clip after clip, and it can be difficult to keep yourself sane. So I guess you're going crazy working at Tesla. This also describes here, and this is actually a really important point, and I've heard of this stuff before, but this gives you a little bit better description. When I first started at Tesla, it was common for people to share clips, right? People say, hey, look at this, right? Around the office, usually just odd things they saw, and it can be any number of things, right? But when one worker took it too far, he shared a clip of a little boy who had been hit by a Tesla while riding his bike. I thought it was sadistic. Tesla cracked down on the image sharing and what we could access after Reuters published a story on it, right? We heard about this in public. They essentially told us if you're caught once, that's your ticket out the door. So you're right. There's any number of things that you'll see in a car's camera, and obviously, a kid getting hit by a car is not cool. Don't share that kind of stuff. It's right. And this is the. I'll just leave it at that. Tesla gives us a 15-minute break and a 30-minute lunch break, but you have to time it perfectly because of Tesla's employee monitoring software. So they're calling it fly time, I guess. It tracks keystrokes and how long you're working on images, which can make it tricky. This is the interesting part here because it sounds like to do their job, you may get penalized, at least according to this. To properly label some of the clips, you have to use outside resources. So you'll have to go out of the labeling system to review traffic laws or Tesla's labeling policies. But anytime you're not clicking around in the software program, it tracks you as if you aren't working, and it basically sets off an alarm to your superiors. Then they'll call in the office and say, why aren't you working, blah, blah, blah. And the Tesla, they're pretty aggressive at firing people is what it sounds like. And it comes from Elon Musk culture. It's not surprising, anything like that. You guys know too, Elon Musk sent out an email. This was a couple months ago. I remember hearing about this over at Twitter and saying, hey, are you going to go into demon mode, work hardcore or not? Or he was demon mode and asking employees to go hardcore or not. And you had to click on an email within 24 hours and say yes or no. And if you didn't, you could get fired. But someone, I think this was Ireland, that they sued, just saying you can't do this to people. Like, just send an email and say respond or not or get fired. And they actually won the suit, $600,000 to that person. These kind of situations, when you have these big companies that operate in multiple countries, every country has different laws. So I don't know how many countries in the world would, frown upon employer sending out an email and saying you have 24 hours to respond, otherwise you're fired, right? I can't speak to all countries in the world, but I can say just from an ethical standpoint, it doesn't sound great. So here's an example of getting in trouble. It says, I've gotten in trouble for missing fly time. They bring you into a separate office and ask, why didn't you make any changes to the software program for 15 minutes? You could basically get fired for spending too long in the bathroom. There's definitely a feeling that we're all, that we're just worker ants. That's the things. There's definitely a feeling that we're just worker ants. It also says here too, this is an interesting part. When we had concerns, they were often brushed off, okay? There were some times we were told to ignore no turn on red or no U-turn signs. So they're told to ignore traffic signs, which is kind of strange. Those were the kind of things that made me and my coworkers uncomfortable. In some cases, they would hear us out, but other times the general response was all along the lines of, quote, mind your own business and your pay grade. That's how they treat you at Tesla. My experience at Tesla has been different than what I thought it would be when I started. I thought it would be a great opportunity for my career, but now I view it as a dystopian company. And this is like what it's like to work at Tesla. They monitor your cameras and stuff like that. And, essentially, I feel like, again, is Mr. Musk the emperor or is he Luke Skywalker? And but I will say this is a real picture of Mr. Musk, essentially what he looks like when the emperor has no clothes. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on any one of these things. I know we talk about lots of different things in the market, but I think this is honestly the most important story right now. And it keeps getting more crazy. I'll touch on this a bit. I had to look this up myself. It's like, why is Musk tweeting out now pictures of Trump with ducks and kittens? Basically, there's a rumor going around in right-wing circles that I guess immigrants or whatever are eating your pets in Ohio. And so they're saying vote for Trump to protect your pets, basically. And this is actually a tweet out by the Republican, it was the House GOP, Judiciary GOP, right? So they're tweeting out these AI images, and that's what that is all about. And also, to be fair, guys, the Democrats do kind of odd stuff too. There's that whole thing, there's the cat thing. there's a whole odd thing about, whether or not Vance is having sex with a couch, which is, I don't tweet out that kind of stuff. It's like, because it's stupid, but there's different levels. Like, I don't know how many people, really think this. I'll let you guys be the judge of that stuff, right? But this is the craziest world that we live in now. Which politician is getting frisky with the couch, and which group of people are gonna eat your pet. It's kind of crazy stuff that we're talking about here, but I don't know what to make of this. I'll just say this. There's so many crazy things about Musk, that essentially this is why we need a community to try to decipher all this stuff together. So I know we covered a lot in this video, but I do appreciate your time, and I want to hear your thoughts on this stuff. So I'll catch you all on the next time.